يعطيكم العافية مشاهدينا، بالتفصيل بحلقة خاصة من طريق النجف كربلاء، وبالتحديد من أمام موكب نداء الأقصى، واللي هو بالمناسبة هو موكب فلسطيني على طريق المشاية. معي بهيدي الحلقة واللي رح تكون مش مثل البودكاستات اللي انتم تعودتوا عليها، حلقة سريعة وخفيفة ونظيفة. معي جاكسون هينكل، الناشط والإعلامي والناشط الحقوقي من أمريكا. Welcome, Jackson.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome for your first time in Iraq.
Yes, it's a great honor.
We will begin with the Palestinian cause and your opinion. What was the point where you had the idea that all is changing? You need to know more, you need to search more about Palestine, about what's happening there.
It's a good question. The first time I think I was probably 18 years old. And so that would have been about 2018. And I was not really interested in politics or anything going on in the world when I was younger. I just cared about my friends, my family, and my little life. But then I started to get interested in politics in my hometown, and from there, started to dive into other things. And I realized, and I was shocked, because, the question of Palestine, the question of the West Bank, of Gaza, everything from 1948 up until today, it's not even a question of politics. We were discussing earlier, you were saying it's a question of basic humanity. So
Yes, indeed.
When I first heard this, what has been happening and what is still happening, obviously today, it was such a shocking thing for me to even believe was happening. I didn't even believe it. I'm like, there's no way. How could this possibly be
That in 2025 there are people dying from starvation. It's unbelievable.
Yes, it doesn't make sense, but that's exactly how everything operates now in the Western world, So that was the first time, 2018.
Have you faced any backlash in the U.S. for openly supporting Palestine?
Of course. I think everyone has.
But this is weird. We are talking about the United States.
Yes.
The country of freedoms, of democracy, of free speech.
It's a mockery of that. There's no free speech. I love Russia. I love the city of Moscow, but I only live there full time because my own country is prosecuting people who are speaking out about the truth and who are, more importantly, trying to break media blockades and visit places like this, or visit Yemen, or visit Lebanon. Maybe they don't care if you go to the north of Lebanon, but if you dare to go to the south and you see the areas that are being bombed each and every day, farmers that are being bombed. You have people who are trying to just rebuild a tent next to their destroyed home in the south of Lebanon. If you go and document that, they will silence you in whatever way they can manage in the United States.
And directly you will become anti-Semitic and you will have tons of charges.
Yes. And that's the other thing. Some of these journalists who are being targeted in the United States, not even for visiting this part of the world, but for just simply saying what is going on and saying that this is an egregious crime. Some of these men and women are Jewish, and it's like, why are they being called anti-Semitic? None of this makes sense.
Wait a second. We are talking about a Jewish who is accused that he is anti-Semitic.
Yes. I can name Max Blumenthal, Katie Halper, Aaron Mate, Gabor Mate. There's so many. Dan Cohen, all these men and women, Jewish Americans, who are literally on a daily basis called anti-Semitic. That's when you know the word doesn't have meaning anymore. Anti-Semitic. It's a crazy world.
What happened with the students in the universities? They called students terrorists. Does this make any sense for you?
No, it doesn't make sense. And it's a shame that it's a shame that they were able to squash the student movement. The state was able to send the police in and do that and stop them. And I think I think if there's one thing we can reflect on as a movement regarding what happened with the students, it's that we need to be as open and welcoming to as many people as possible. A lot of these students in these universities in America, I can't speak for other countries, but in America, a lot of these students hold very socially progressive gender values or, cultural values, these LGBT values, these things. And a lot of the students on these American universities, I love what they were doing for Gaza, but they would turn kids away if they were a conservative who opposed Israel. They'd say, we don't want you to be a part of our demonstration. It was very odd. I think if they had united all of the students, conservatives,
They would make a difference.
they would never have been shut down. They wouldn't have been able to stop it because it would have been literally the heart and soul of America coming together for the first time ever. You can't shut that down.
So since you have mentioned the LGBTs and all these movements, it's weird that in America and the Western world, you can identify yourself as a horse, as a cat, as a woman, as a she, as a he, but you can't identify yourself as a supporter of human rights, a real supporter of human rights. This is weird.
If you're Palestinian, you can't even say I'm Palestinian without people, saying things about you and making ideas in their head about you and saying you're a terrorist, but I think the main thing we have to look at is these words have lost all meaning. You have people who are Hasbara working for the Israeli government propaganda machine that are trying to make the claim that they are humanists. They are the people who support humanity as they kill hundreds of thousands of people in untold amounts of countries. You look at Gaza, West Bank. You have of course the bombings on Lebanon and Iran and Yemen and Syria as well. It just never ends.
Do you think that in this time and after all what happened, we can see something sparking in the Gen Z in America? Some change, something that they are thinking now?
Last month, for the first time ever, you have the majority of Americans who do not support Israel. And it sounds crazy that, how do the majority of Americans or close to that even support Israel as of a few months ago or a year ago or 2 years ago? But people are so propagandized. They're propagandized through their faith, through their education, through the media, through everything in America. But it's a very big deal. Now, Gen Z is wildly anti-Israel, and that's a beautiful thing. There's no turning that around. There's no changing that. No, I'm 25. No 25-year-old, no 18-year-old, no 14-year-old is going to forget the videos that they have been witnessing for the past 3 years and the horrors they've been seeing every single day. They'll never forget that for the rest of their lives.
One question. Israel without America. The result.
Well, I already say Israel's a fake country, but it'd be nothing, it'd be absolutely nothing. The truth is, Israel, when I was in Lebanon for the funeral of Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah,
Yes.
you had these Zionist terrorists, they fly their jets above us at the funeral, right?
Yes.
And all these people, all these Zionists on social media, they come out and they're like, you must have been very scared when we had our fighter jets above. I'm like, wait. Let's hold up a second. Your fighter jets? Those are not your we paid for those. That's our technology. Those are our fighter jets. And I'm ashamed of that, of course, that our fighter jets are doing that. But why do these Zionists act like they're so big, so strong, when at any given moment they have to call in, they have to cry for help from the United States for everything?
Yes, we saw Biden in the third day of 7 October. He directly went to Israel and supported Netanyahu and brought the Marines and the ships and the destroyers. Yes.
Yes. It's crazy.
Fast forward to 2025. You receive an invitation to attend the conference of Nida al-Aqsa in Iraq. What made you accept this invitation to Iraq?
It was a no-brainer. When I was in Yemen back in March, it was the first time that anyone really began to explain in depth the story of Imam Hussein and the Battle of Karbala to me. We were sitting in Sada, Yemen, and we were smoking shisha, and I had the ghat in my mouth, and
I tried the ghat.
I tried the ghat. It was very good. But we started to talk about it there and how much it meant to them, and after that, I've begun to. If there's one thing that I know for certain about Imam Hussein and the Battle of Karbala, it's that you can literally never stop learning. You could write research papers and look at the archaeological evidence and the primary sources all day, every day for years, and you'd still have more to learn about what went on and the impact of it, of the Battle of Karbala.
This was not your first visit to the Middle East. You have visited other countries, Lebanon, Yemen, and now Iraq.
Yes, but this is very important because this is sacred land for a number of reasons. It's the home of human civilization. You have the Mesopotamian civilization here. You have Ottomans, Safavids, Mongols. You have everyone Assyrians that were here. Now you have obviously the extremely important, beautiful legacy and sacrifice that Imam Hussein made and his martyrdom at Karbala. We're sitting very close to where it all went down, and there was no way I was going to miss this. And also, the conference as a whole was very inspiring because it was not just Shia scholars that was there. You had a wide array of different faiths that were participating in this, and I think that was very beautiful to have that.
So when you landed here, what was the first impression?
When I landed here, my first impression, everyone was extremely hospitable. When I landed in Baghdad, there was a little bit of a mix-up with my taxi. So I was like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, I'm trying to figure it out. And there's a few Americans that were in the airport, and they were meeting their family here. Their mom was flying in from Dearborn, Michigan. And they're like, oh, American. You know what? Your taxi's not here? Come to Najaf with us. We'll show you our home, our family, our kids. We'll show you our favorite restaurant. Then we'll drive you to Karbala. I'm like, we're in Iraq. Let's do it. There's nothing like that anywhere.
Even like that, millions of people.
And in a few days, you won't even be able to walk here, right?
Yes.
It's going to be so many people.
And you can imagine that those millions, they are fed, dressed, clean, all what they need, and it's all for free.
I would be doing a extreme, disservice if I didn't mention this. Our brothers from Yemen and Ansar Allah, some people that are very respected by Syed Abdul Malik al-Houthi, they wanted to come this year to Arbaeen very badly. And they were blocked by certain countries. You can probably imagine who, but I think it's such a shame that the Houthis and Ansar Allah, who have done so much for Gaza and really embodied a lot of the principles and virtues that Imam Hussein has taught us in the Battle of Karbala and elsewhere in his life. I think it's such a shame that any country, any Muslim country, would try to block Ansar Allah from Yemen coming here to Arbaeen. That was something that really, it broke my heart when I learned that, because I stay in touch with them still,
Beyond the conference hall, we are here in Mawkib Nida al-Aqsa. So you have visited the Mawkib, you had the idea of it, and you heard about it. It's the philosophy, the history, all of this. How would you describe, what have you saw here?
I don't know if I could do it in one word. I'd say just energy. It's got such a rich energy. And you see behind me, the people who are walking right now, they've been walking, 10, 15, 20 days, but they still walk upright. Good posture. they have a sense of honor and dignity in this walk, in this pilgrimage. And that is also reflected, that energy is reflected in this Malki, because I loved the conference that we participated in earlier this week with the global campaign to return to Palestine. In many ways, though, that was not in every way, but in many ways it was kind of a scholarly discussions and very impassioned speeches. This Malki is beautiful because it's good energy, it's good for the young people, it's very artistic, it's very expressive, very creative. And I think that you all have been able to blend and mesh, all ages in this common cause in a way that I would have thought was unachievable, but you've done it here.
The main role played here is by Palestinians. You can't imagine that a people who were suffering from everything, kicked out of their countries, they can do something beautiful like this. And they are here, and I want to ask about this. How do you think it's beneficial to be here as a Palestinian in the middle of the road of Arba'in in Karbala?
I can't speak for how they feel, but I'll say how I feel seeing them here and meeting them, because I've had the honor to do that. It's the greatest honor to be able to meet Palestinians. And those who come here and build things as beautiful as this, what we're sitting in right now, and who are working to bring us all together in a free Palestine one day soon, inshallah. This is the greatest honor to meet these people, and I just want to learn from them, because of course the level of struggle and sacrifice that they've been through and their families have been through and they're still going through with the starvation. I saw a video today where they were opening fire on a group of those seeking food aid once more. It's just never ending. There's something in the Palestinian spirit that frankly I don't have in me, but I want to learn about it, and I want to learn maybe how I can tap into a fraction of what they have.
How do you assess the Western media coverage of what's happening in Gaza?
Criminal. Is this going on YouTube? Yes. Okay, I won't say my true feelings about what I think should happen to all the Zionist propagandists, because it will get this channel banned. But needless to say, in World War II, those who did the media propaganda for the Germans were held accountable, and I think the same must be done for those who are covering up and supporting this genocide in Gaza.
And the final chapter of this podcast, it's a short podcast, because I know you are tired, you came from Baghdad, and 4 hours and a half on the road, it's
a good reason why there's traffic, though. This is a very good reason.
What are you taking home from this experience?
What am I taking home? Well, I'll definitely say that I'm taking home that I want to learn more, because we were talking about this earlier. Before I came, I had certain expectations as to what this would be and what it would look like. But when you're here, when you see the millions of people, when you see how impassioned they are, when you go inside of the shrine and you see its beauty, I've never seen anything like that in my life. When you understand the level of conscious intent that people put into honoring Imam Hussein in the Battle of Karbala and what he stood for, you understand, at least I understand, as someone who doesn't come from this background, that I need to learn a lot more about it and understand its importance more. And I think only in doing that, I will be able to truly take those virtues and values that everyone here already understands with me in my daily life.
What will you tell your audience?
I tell my audience.
I've
already told my audience a lot. I told my audience that Baghdad is a safe city, first of all, and Iraq is a safe country.
No stereotypes.
No stereotypes. It's safer than any American city, major city, and it's safer definitely than Europe. Europe is sad right now. And I say that the shrine is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And I also say that Westerners, and particularly Christians, need to learn the story of Imam Hussein, and at some point in their life, they need to come and visit in person.
If you had one word to say to the youth in America, in Iraq, in Palestine, what do you say?
To all of them?
No.
One
To the Americans, to the Iraqis, to the Palestinians.
To the Americans, I would say, I'll give 2 words. To the Americans, I would say, have dignity. Because right now, there's a lot of fear around what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. But if you have dignity and you have courage in your beliefs, then it doesn't matter what other people think, and you'll fight for what's right. For the Palestinians, you said?
But before, perhaps they want to express, they want to say something, but they are scared. They are scared, yes. They are scared for the policies on social media.
Americans, I'll speak to you directly. We live some of the most pampered lives, and I'm not talking from this moral, liberal high ground of privilege and whatnot, but that's just the truth. In the past year, I've been to so many countries that are actively being bombed, sanctioned, starved, and I'm not just talking about the Middle East, in Venezuela, Latin America as well, and Russia. And if you can't even voice your opinions, if you're so scared, you're so feckless, you're so ballless that you can't even voice your opinions, then you don't have the right to wear the red, white, and blue and call yourself an American patriot. So that, they need to grow up. That's what I think.
For the Palestinians.
The Palestinians, I say, forgive us. And because it is a shame. The biggest shame of all, we as citizens, I think, are doing all we can to try and address all the crises that are going on right now. But the biggest shame of all is that immediately when this genocide began, or long before it, as there has been a slower genocide that's taken place since 1948, that there has not been a unified response from the neighbors of Palestine and from the world, from governments all across the world, to bring an end to this. But especially post-October 7th. How is it that you have all of these Islamic governments that are going out and having their protests, their marches, they do this, that, and the other, they wear the keffiyeh, but then they're supplying Israel with 40% of their annual oil consumption? How is that? How is that? That makes no sense.
Hypocrisy.
So forgive us to the Palestinians.
Can you tell them that there is hope? Do you think that there is hope?
There's hope. Of course there's hope. The reason why the Americans, the Anglos, the Zionists, the reason why they fear Palestinians, specifically Gazans, so much is because they fear no one but God. And the Americans and the Zionists, who do they fear? They think that, and I don't mean to be crude, but they think that Jesus is in a pile of, fecal matter being burned, in hell. That's what
The Zionists, yes.
So they clearly do not have this fear instilled in them that the Palestinians do, a fear of God. And that's the only fear that you should have in life. And I think that anyone who wages a war against God will never be successful. And that's what the Zionists are trying to do right now.
So our final message, there is hope.
Yes.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, brother.
Jackson.
Thank you so much.
It was very amusing, and I was honored to meet you.
I'm honored.
And what a coincidence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.